I love fighting games. I'm completely garbage at them, but I've always found them a fun way to pass the time. And while some people don't really care for it, I've also always been interested in the kind of stories they tell. Today I want to talk about arcade endings. The reward you get for completing the arcade mode, showing the aftermath of the character you chose winning the tournament. But which ones do it best? Since Street Fighter 1 basically just has the one ending, I'm going to start with the game that basically started it all, Street Fighter 2. I'm going to rank each ending based on how satisfying it feels to get it, how interesting the story it tells us, and just how entertaining they are in general. I'll also be taking both the original and the Super Street Fighter endings into account if there are any major differences. With that, let's get to the ranking. In 16th place is E Honda's ending. I'll be honest, I've never found E Honda to be a particularly interesting character. He's just a sumo who wants everyone to like sumo. His ending shows that he won, but he's not going to stop training as he eats with his friends. That's it really. It's not really satisfying and it doesn't really tell much about E Honda's character, it's just kind of there. In 15th place is Balrog. So in the original game, the four kings all basically had the same ending with different text, which is kind of lazy. The text for the original ending had a weirdly positive spin on it, talking about how children can now believe in the American dream. Super doesn't really add much, though it does show a bit of Balrog's personality, showing how he likes to indulge himself after his victories. It's not much, but it does make you feel like a winner, and it shows some of Balrog's personality, which is more than I can say for E Honda. In 14th place is Vega. Not much to say about this one, as it mostly just shows the kind of person Vega is, a psychotic narcissist. The original ending ends with him claiming, "The ugly deserve no mercy, so I destroyed them all. He he he." In 13th place is Fei Long. This ending sees Fei Long approached by a director, I think, who claims he can make Fei Long a star. Fei Long refuses, claiming that there could never be another legend like the Great One and his son. It's a nice tribute to Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee, and considering recent events at this point, I understand why this was done, but I also kind of think Fei Long's character suffers because of it. We don't really learn anything about Fei Long, other than he wants to be stronger and that he's basically a lesser version of someone else. It's also kind of confusing since Fei Long would go on to be an actor anyway, so yeah. In 12th place is Dhalsim. In his ending, he goes back home where after 3 years he reflects on his victory with his family. This one's just kind of basic, not necessarily bad, but nothing memorable. It's at least one that makes me feel accomplished and shows some of Dhalsim's life, although the art used in the original ending is really ugly. In 11th place is T-Hawk. For someone with a history with the main villain and a motivation to stop him, it's still kind of basic. He just friends Bison and talks about how he's going to restore his homeland. We don't really get much character from him and it doesn't feel that unique compared to other endings, but it's fine for what it is. I don't know what exactly he did with Bison in between, so I'm just going to assume he killed him. In 10th place is DJ. While his ending isn't anything crazy, it's at least unique as defeating Bison gives him inspiration for his music, as he makes a diss rap on Bison on the spot. He then goes on to further his music career. Again, it's nothing amazing, but at least gets points for uniqueness. In 9th place is Ken. Ken's ending is another basic one with him reuniting with his girlfriend before they get married. It doesn't show much of Ken's character, but it's kind of sweet and it's kind of a satisfying ending to get. In 8th place is Sagat. Back when he was a villain, even though his redemption arc happened in the prequel to this game, which is definitely not confusing. Sagat's ending simply has him reflect on his victory and his history with Ryu. While it seems basic on the surface, it at least adds some nuance to Sagat's character, even before he'd go on to be a good guy. In 7th place is Guile. This ending sees Guile wanting revenge on Bison over a man named Charlie, before his wife and daughter arrive to talk him out of continuing this cycle of revenge. Gal lets Bison go, and he goes home to be a family man. In hindsight, it's a little silly considering no one has any issue with killing Bison after this game, but it is a sweet ending that shows Gal's character and also creates some intrigue with his past considering this Charlie person. In 6th place is M. Bison himself. Out of all the original endings for the Four Kings, I think this one works best for Bison himself. With an even ending on this emphasising that thanks to you, the world is his. You chose to play the villain, and you helped the villain win. It's a simple ending, it just shows M. Bison conquering the world, but what else did you expect? In a way, it's still a pretty satisfying ending if that's what you were wanting. In 5th place is Blanca. Blanca's ending basically tells us everything about him as he finally reunites with his mother, who explains how she lost him in the jungle due to a plane crash. It's a very sweet and satisfying ending, although a part of me wonders if maybe the story could have been extended a little bit beyond this game. It might have made the reunion more satisfying. In 4th place is Ryu. I think this ending is a pretty good display of Ryu's character. Not interested in awards or ceremonies, he simply moves on, looking for his next fight as his journey is far from over. It kinda tells you everything you need to know about Ryu, although it is also just kinda silly to see Bison standing on the podium like Clark, like, what's he doing there? We're at the top 3, and in 3rd place is Zangief. After winning the tournament, Zangief is visited by none other than Mikhail Gorbachev, who congratulates him and then proceeds to dance with him. Yeah, it doesn't really say much about Zangief's character, other than he's Russian, but I don't know, this scene is just kind of funny to me. Gorbachev is just canon to Street Fighter, I guess. At 2nd place we have Cammy. Cammy has amnesia and is seeking Bison to find out about her past. Bison reveals that he and Cammy were lovers. What? Actually, that's just a mistranslation. What he meant to say was she was a clone of him, as well as a loyal Shadaloo agent. Cammy is distraught by this until she's comforted by the members of her team, Delta Red, who tell her that her past doesn't matter. The person they know is their family. It's a sweet ending that adds a lot of intrigue to Cammy and her past, with the clone aspect being something that gets expanded on in later games. Finally, in 1st place, we have Chun-Li. Now, if this were going strictly by the original endings, it probably wouldn't be this high. It sees Chun-Li over her father's grave, where she talks about how she stopped Bison and finally avenged him, before she goes back to life of a single young girl, which is a little stereotypical. However, in Super, it does something interesting by giving you a choice on what her ending is. Either the life of a single young girl again, or continue being a detective, with both showing Chun-Li as a strong woman not to be messed with. Being given a choice in it is a cool idea, which is something I wish more fighting games would utilise. Her original was still good, but I think being given a choice is what really propels this to 1st place. And that's the list. Most of them are kinda basic, but that's kind of what you'd expect considering how old this game is. Did you agree or disagree? Feel free to say why in the comments. If this video does well, we plan to make this into a series, going over not just the other Street Fighter games, but other fighting game series like Fatal Fury, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and even Guilty Gear. Until next time.